on various topics, mainly technical, but also the softer aspects of what we are here to do. KXP has POPs in Nairobi and Mombasa, which is something that other countries in Africa also follow as a model. Mainly, XPs are set up in countries, in cities, or in regions, as the case may be. Using KXP as an example, we are present in carrier-neutral data centers, but it is understandable that in some countries and some regions, that may not be an option. Therefore, alternatives include self-hosting, as well as using the best available facility. Our peering policy, multilateral and bilateral, or both, also available to other XPs across Africa, and of course worldwide. Each rolls what is applicable to themselves. We do member training, which we also leverage AFNOG or AF training, KENOG training, that is our network operator group in Kenya, as well as ISOC forums. Thank you, ISOC, for the help that you have given in setting up the IXP in Kenya and other regions, and special interest groups, which may be both government and private sector, all in the interest of sharing knowledge and expertise. Now, there is both good news and bad news in the way that we do things in Africa. The successes include the fact that we have got the tech and the talent. I think my immediate previous presenter was talking about the technology they use in Nigeria, and that's quite a bit of tech, and the talent to run it is available there. We also do have problems in some of the things that we try to achieve. And part of this talk is about both sharing what we are successful with and what we need to act on to solve. I will give a few case studies on what challenges I have personally come across in the Kenyan space. I don't know whether that is applicable across Africa, but I suspect that it is. The first case study is the private sector, where to protect the innocent, I will call the players the supplier, the reseller, and the consumer. Now, peering is already in place. Traffic in form of information is being exchanged. The supplier knows what they're supplying. The reseller knows what they're selling. The consumer knows what they're buying. But when something goes wrong, what happens? Consumer reports that there's a problem. For one reason or another, the reseller does not understand or does not converse with the consumer in depth to understand what the problem is so that they can put in their own expertise in either resolving it or forwarding it to the supplier. So the communication from the reseller is that consumer has a problem, so solve it. Supplier then asks, what exactly is the problem? Please give details. Reseller goes back to the consumer and tells them this information is required. You end up with a back and forth that sometimes lasts several weeks, several months, or sometimes totally fails because of data silos. Nobody wants to share what they are up to, or they are protecting something in their particular space, which they think is very important. That breakdown is what causes business not to happen in the way that it should across Africa. The second case study is the public sector. In this case, healthcare. This is something that happened to me personally through somebody I know, where the patient required medical intervention in a public hospital. The situation was that they needed a blood transfusion. The patient knows what their blood group is. The hospital should have that information already in their database, but because they do not have a centralized database that they can refer to, despite the fact that they are supposedly interconnected with all the other entities that should have that information, they then do their own testing, which fails. They end up with the wrong information. Then they give a blood transfusion using the wrong information. And guess what happens? Reaction. Fortunately, patient survived. But this is something that is very common in our part of the world. I won't speak for the rest of Africa, but I assume that it also happens in other regions. We need to overcome these two particular kind of scenarios. And one of the best ways of doing that is information sharing, as well as being open about what it is that we are doing. All right? The entire point of interconnecting and peering is so that you can share information, not just physically connect to each other. Entities with IP resources should interconnect and peer at the IXP using metro circuits, wireless links. It does not matter how the connectivity is done. In our particular case in Kenya, we do have quite an extensive metro fiber circuit, mostly in the urban areas. Nairobi, Mombasa, and some of the other major towns are well covered, but there are regions which are not so well covered. The Kenyan government has got the National Optic Fiber Network, which should cover the rest of the country. The same model should be replicable in other countries across Africa. Of course, your mileage may vary. You should, of course, advertise your IPv4 and IPv6 addresses. Afrinic has hands-on deployables, which we should leverage so that we can make sure that connectivity is not restricted because of either ignorance or fear of doing something. For the safety of our interconnectivity and peering, filtering is very important. We have had incidents as the Kenya Internet Exchange Point where the incidents do happen, and as has been mentioned, I think by my previous presenter, has happened in Nigeria and has happened across the world, where an outage can either affect an entire country or can affect a region somewhere in the globe, or even the entire internet if it extends far enough. We subscribe to the Mutually Agreed Norms for Routing Security, MANAS, which is a global initiative of ISOC, which is available to IXPs across the world, ourselves included, network operators, that is private sector, content and cloud providers, some of them external, some of them local, and equipment vendors, mostly external, but one day we hope that that will change. What are we doing as TESPOK with regards to the challenges and also to take advantage of the tech and the talent that is available to us? We are an interconnection forum. That is why we have the Internet Exchange Point, and where we also participate in forums such as this, and we are acting as the locals in this particular context because it is very important. We are an advocacy organization so that stakeholders can have their needs met, their requirements heard, and everybody comes to an agreement on what needs to be done. We are also a facilitator for training, both for information sharing and also knowledge disbursement. That is my presentation. Myself and my colleagues are available for any discussions, any talks, or any information sharing as may be required. Thank you very much.